Hello, welcome back to the next episode of Mastery in Economics. In the last episode, we had studied about statistics, which is a part of your subject economics. This is the book of statistics which you have for your grade 11 prescribed by CBSE. In the first chapter, we had seen what is the relation between economics and statistics, why we are studying it. As a quick recap, I will tell you, economics is basically the revolution of money in the economy. How in a country the money is circulating from one place to another, how the people calculate their profits, how the people come to know what is the value of currency, is the economy growing or not, is the country flourishing or not. Everything is studied in economics. Now the real growth is taking place or not is studied in statistics. Why? Because we collect the data, we scrutinize it, we see that the data which is given to us is actually showing the growth or not, whether the growth is taking place or not. If I am saying yes, growth is happening in country, just by simply saying it doesn't show that growth is happening. So what is actually required? That I show the data. That is why, have you seen, now the CBSE result is out. Most of the schools are showing you the pictures of their students with their percentage, that these are the percentage, or these many students have scored above 90, these many students have scored above 80. Why they are providing you that data? If they say yes, our all the students have scored above 90%, will you believe them? No. You will believe on the data which is provided by them, right? You will believe on the photos which they are showing of their students. You can cross check it, right? You can anytime cross check that yes, did the child actually score that much, as much the school is claiming. So statistics is related to economics, because economics tells us that yes, this is the growth, this is happening, these all steps are taken, how demand is met with supply, how the market is moving on. But is it really growing or is it going in loss? So this study is done with the help of statistics, right? So in the first chapter, brief introduction of economics and some basic terms were given. If you have not gone through, then please see the video prior to this video, which has chapter 1 as the explanation. Today we are going to start with chapter 2, which is collection of data, and the name itself tells us we are going to study about the data collection, right? So first of all, there are certain terms which you should be clear of. When you go open the chapter in the book, the first introduction which is given to you is economics and stats are interrelated. Stats, I mean statistics. So they are interrelated to each other, because always in economics the data is collected. Like suppose I take the example of food grains, right? Suppose I am saying that in my country, in the year 2020-21, 15,000 tons of wheat was produced. This is an example, right? And I am saying in the year 2022-23, 18,000 tons of wheat was produced. So this is how I am showing you, this is the data I am telling you, that how the production has been affected with the passing of the time. In 2020, 2022, how much the production has changed. This is showing the rise in production. Now this rise in production may lead to profit or may not lead to profit. Why? Because maybe the price of wheat has gone down. If the price of wheat has gone up, then I am going profit. So to calculate all these things with the collection of data, statistics is required, right? So in the introduction it is told to you that after fluctuations of food grains rose to 132 million tons in 78-79, such kind of data is given to you. When you read the chapter, you will understand that what it means. Now when you are moving on with the chapter, you will notice there are certain important terms for which you have to write down the definitions. You have to make the notes for them, which are very important. And the first one which is given to you is variables. Although it is not very clearly mentioned, but you should know the meaning of variables. You have done variables in your physics, I think. It was taught to you in physics and also in math, right? So this term again we are introducing because we know that the data keeps on varying from year to year. So the data which was last year may not be the same this year. What is this year may not be same in the next year. So variables are the values. Okay? The values which are collected from year to year and recorded year to year and recorded. They are not the same every time. Okay, so they keep on changing. So this changing, so these values vary. That is why they are called variables. Okay, this is the first thing in the chapter which you have to pay attention to, and they are expressed in the alphabets. Okay, like X, Y, Z. Like this we are using. Just briefly I will tell you. You remember this y-axis, x-axis you had in your graph, right? Over here suppose we are taking the population and over here we are taking income. So this y-axis is telling about income, this is telling about the population. So we are studying that if population is rising, then the income is falling. So something like this one is rising, some graph is given to you. So these are things, these graphs we generally use to study about the variables, right? Now next we have important definition of what is data. So what is data? Data is a tool which helps in understanding problems by providing information. Data is a tool which helps in understanding problems by providing information. Okay, so suppose if I am going to see that how many children in country are malnutrition, they are not given the proper food to eat. So what I will do, I will go and check in that particular crowd of children. I will go and check in that particular crowd of population. So when I go and check over there, it means I am going to collect the data. So that data is going to help me to find out the real growth in the economy. Now when I collect the data, data can be primary or it can be secondary. Okay, so primary data is what? Which I directly ask and collect. Okay, from the first person when I go and ask that what kind of, which milk do you purchase for your house every day? So if he says Amul, the other person says Mother Dairy, the other person says some other brand. So that is the primary data which I have collected, right? What is secondary data? When the data is collected from some other source. Okay, it is collected from some other source. It can be government records. Okay, it can be some magazine. It can be some newspaper. So these all data are collected by someone else but is being used by some other person. So it becomes secondary data. When I am not directly going to the respondent, directly not going to the market to collect some information, then it is secondary. When I am directly going to ask people and collect the information, then it is primary. I hope the difference between the both is clear to everyone. This is very important because in exams it generally comes. Now when the primary data becomes the secondary data, suppose I have collected the information and I have recorded it somewhere, and my collection of information is being used by the other person. So for me it was primary, but for the other person it will become secondary. Okay. So if something related to this, some kind of situation based question is given to you, so try to analyze and understand it. Now next is survey. So we should see what is a survey. It is a method of gathering information, right? So it is a method of gathering information. So survey can be conducted in many ways, right? So the next thing which comes, what are the ways of collection? First is questionnaire. Now when I want to collect the information, first of all I should have a questionnaire with me. The name tells you I should have some questions. If I want to gather information about someone or something, I should have some questions to ask, right? So that is the preparation of questionnaires. So what points you have first when you are preparing a questionnaire? What are the important points for preparation? When you are preparing your questionnaire, you are going to a person. It is very simple. Suppose I ask you to go and take the interview of someone, right? So before going for the interview, you will do some initial preparation. You will prepare a paper where you will write the questions that what you are going to ask from the other person, right? So that is the questionnaire. Now while preparing the questionnaire, what points you have to keep in mind? First is it should not be too long. Okay, so it should not be too long. Second is the questions should be simple. And they should not have difficult words, right? Those words you should not use which are reflecting your vocabulary. You are not making a questionnaire to show your learning, right? Should not have difficult words. Now next is questions should be arranged. They should be arranged in such a way that other person feels comfortable in answering them. It should not happen that the other person is getting confused or not able to answer. Now they should move from general to specific. First of all, in general ask the questions, then ask the individual answers, right? In general, what do you observe around you? What do you feel about it, right? So first of all, general question should be there, then individual questions should be there. Now there are certain ways of collecting data. Now what are those ways through which the data is collected? The different ways are, the first of all is personal interview. You all know what is personal interview, in which the interviewer sits in front of the respondent. Now what are the merits of this personal interview? The merits are, the interviewer has the opportunity of explaining the study and answering the queries of respondents. So if I am sitting face to face with a person, then I can understand what question I am asking, and the other person may also ask me something related to that question if the question is not clear to that person. So I have an opportunity to explain it. The interviewer can respond. If I want my respondent to explain any point, it will be very easy for me to ask to that person to explain it or elaborate it, right? And there will be no misunderstanding. Means when two people are talking to each other, if one person is not able to understand properly, can always put up a question. So misunderstanding can be avoided. Now the demerits of this is, it is expensive as it requires trained interviewers. So you need a nice person to ask the questions. You cannot just randomly pick up anyone to come and take the interview. So if you're hiring someone to take the interview, that person is going to be expensive. Then sometimes it takes longer time. If you immediately want the data, then you are not going to opt for this option, because asking, talking, conversation always takes a time. Then presence of interviewer may hinder the respondent. Means sometimes when we are talking to a person face to face, sometimes the people hide the facts. They don't have the intention of speaking on face. Okay, so these all situations can be avoided if personal interview is not taken. Now next is mailing questionnaire. Now suppose I want to collect the data and I mail the questionnaire to the person. Now mailing questionnaire, it is the first advantage is it is easy, because I am not in front of the person, so he will feel comfortable in answering all the questions, and it is also less expensive. Then in remote areas it can be easily sent. Means in the far off places where I cannot personally go and visit, I can send and collect the data. Then it gives sufficient time to the respondent. Means respondent feels comfortable. He has lots of time to think about the questions. What are the disadvantages of it? Sometimes if any question is sent in the questionnaire which is not clear to me, so I will not be able to answer it. I cannot ask anyone. And sometimes what happens, a questionnaire which we are sending to the other people, they may not send it back. They may not fill it or send it back, or they may send it incomplete, or sometimes the questionnaire doesn't reach to the respondent. It is lost in mail. Now next is telephone interview. Telephone interview is, we are talking about the landline. Okay, don't think it is mobile, because mobile phones generally people don't give the answers to the survey. If someone is calling on your mobile and saying, sir, I am taking a survey, you will block the number. But in landline you don't have that option of blocking, right? So telephone interview over here means only the landline. Merits are, it is cheaper than personal interview. Means you can call anyone and talk. Questions can be clarified. Suppose you are talking to a person on phone and you want to get some information and that person is not able to understand your question. So you can explain your question properly to that person. Then respondent can answer the question which they don't like to answer in personal interview. Now over the telephone people may give you some information which they don't like to talk personally, right? Demerits are, it is sometimes not possible to gather from the people who don't have telephones. I am talking about landline. Mobiles are nowadays with everyone. Even the beggars have the mobiles with them. So mobiles have become quite popular. Everyone is able to afford them. But the landlines are generally not there with every person, right? Even the tenants who are living in our surroundings, we will notice they don't apply for landline. They use their mobile. So if these are three modes of collecting data: personal interview, mailing questionnaire and telephone interview. Till here we will do this chapter today. The rest of the chapter we will be doing in the next video. Till here please read the chapter. I have tried to cover up all the points which are here in the book, and it is till page number 13. From 14th page number we will be starting in the next video. Till page 13 please go through the chapter, read it carefully. You can see this kind of table is also given in your book, and this table has all the advantages and disadvantages of these modes of collecting the data. This chapter is very easy. First chapter was also very easy. The only thing is, if you read it again and again, these things will be in your mind to answer any kind of situation based questions. Okay, we will meet again in the next video. Till then, I request you, please keep on watching the previous videos and keep on studying the data. If you like my channel, please like, share and subscribe it. I will be grateful to you, and I will be motivated to work hard to bring more videos. Bye for now.